Reddit Ask Me Anything. I'm the 1/1 mil statistic that had an actual adverse reaction to a vaccine and I am permanently vaccine injured. I am still strongly pro-vax. Ask me anything. Very long story short, when I was 14 I had a near immediate and severe reaction to a TDA or vaccine. It nearly killed me and it left me with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which I unfortunately still haven't recovered from 15 years later. Very few people with GBS relapse, but I did a couple of years ago and still experience flare-ups that leave me nearly immobile. This has been confirmed as best as it can be confirmed by doctors. I have spoken out publicly in support of vaccines a few times and will continue to do so. For every 1 in a million statistic, there has to be that one, and I happen to be it. How do Karens look at you knowing that you have been hurt by vaccines but still support them? They actually accuse me of being a well-paid shill for Big Pharma. My bank account balance says otherwise. How are you doing? Honestly, life is a real struggle. I never know when my GBS is going to decide to flare up and there's no way to tell how long the flare-ups are going to last. I could also have another relapse at any time. Living with so many unknowns isn't the easiest. It's hard to make commitments. And when the symptoms are combined with those from my other health issues, it's impossible to work any kind of regular job. I struggle mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially every single day. It's hard to do everyday tasks. I have to give myself pep talks and take breaks to get through a shower. If I go anywhere that requires me to walk for an extended period of time, I do have to use a wheelchair. But I've also had some incredible life experiences that I wouldn't trade for anything. I've lived and studied in Japan, spent a few weeks in England, worked for a video game developer as a customer service and tech support rep, but still, during a good health stint, met a lot of my personal heroes and experienced a lot of other really cool stuff. I won't lie about it being hard, but I've still gotten to live a lot of life that even perfectly healthy people don't get the chance to. I don't remember what it's like to not be weak and in pain, even on my good days, but I've adapted. Life goes on and sometimes it's really good. Your honesty and positivity are inspiring. Assuming this is true, are you now scared of vaccines that you actually need? Vaccines you get as an adult still, tetanus for example? Also, can you please elaborate on the Guillain-Barré syndrome? Is it painful? Do you have bad nerve pain from it? How is it on a day-to-day basis? Is it always bothering you or only during flare-ups relapses? Thanks. I hope the best for you and that it leaves you alone, man, girl. Stay strong equals. Given that I have an autoimmune disorder and could potentially be sensitive to all vaccines, I've been advised not to receive any more, so I haven't been vaccinated since I was 14. It's very possible that another adverse reaction could kill me and even doctors don't think that it's a smart risk to take. Guillain-Barré syndrome is an extremely complex disorder that would take a really long time to fully explain, so the best information on the disorder itself can be found on medical sites. That said, yes, it's painful. I'm always in pain. Even when I'm not flaring, I get random neuropathy, mostly in my extremities. Sometimes, it's just irritating. Other times, it's very painful. The daily non-flare non-relapse issues are mainly generalized weakness, neuropathy, and severe fatigue. I have back and neck problems from it and I get headaches constantly. I have horrible allergies, which is pretty typical with autoimmune disorders. I still occasionally use a wheelchair depending on the situation I'm in and how my body is feeling that day. Flare-ups usually cause those daily symptoms to get a whole lot worse. My arms and legs will decide not to work. They aren't paralyzed. I still have sensation, but the muscles decide to tap out for a while. The fatigue is extreme and I spend most of my time sleeping. And yet, the pain is a lot worse. 2. Relapses. Well, the last time, I was so weak and my nervous system was so messed up that I couldn't even sit up for more than 5 minutes at a time. I had to learn how to do tasks while lying down, using a pillow or something to prop my head up enough to see, eat, drink, etc. Anytime I had to actually get up to do something, I'd usually end up lying on the ground gasping for air after a couple of minutes. It's extremely hard to breathe. Temporary paralysis happens. It's just not a fun time. And thank you for the well wishes. I appreciate it a lot. Did you die? I woke up dead the next morning. Here is a gold to pay for funeral. Thank. My family and friends appreciate. My little brother had a reaction to the TDA of vaccines as well and ended up not speaking for 2 years when he was younger. He's healthy now and able to take vaccines again, but that combination is unhealthy itself. I don't know that much about it, but I'm really sorry you've been struggling with this for so long. Thank you, and I'm very happy that your brother is healthy now. Wow, you even hit the double jackpot as GBS seems to be only 3% minus 10% chronicle. Big F. Edit. Just got vaccinated today. Wish me luck. P. I regularly joke that I won the lottery twice. Were you told you're not allowed to receive certain shots in the future? My partner was recently diagnosed with GBS and was advised not to get the flu shot again. Also, I thought GBS eventually goes away and if the symptoms continue to flare up it's most likely CIDP? Yes, I was. Doctors have advised me to not receive any more vaccinations at all due to the state of my immune system, which is really scary, especially right now. You're correct. 70% of people with GBS recover within 3 years and never experience any symptoms again. Technically, GBS never fully goes away and can be triggered again by another extreme immune response, but most people never have an issue with it after they recover. CIDP is very similar and symptoms that persist absolutely can be a sign of CIDP. There are, however, a slim minority of GBS survivors who continue having symptoms of GBS and even experience full relapses. There isn't much knowledge on it yet. I think that I've read every study on it that's out there, but it has been observed in some particularly unlucky individuals like myself. Also, I wish your partner good health and a speedy full recovery. GBS is no fun but recovery is very likely. Can you recall exactly what happened that day? Yes. I remember it vividly, not the appointment itself, but what happened afterward. It started with my arm swelling up so big that my swim teammates were teasing me about doing steroids. It was probably 3 times its usual size and it really hurt. Then I started having serious breathing problems somewhere from 24 to 48 hours after the injection. From there, it was a rapid decline into a very severe illness that I genuinely can't fully remember because I was pretty messed up. But I do remember that my muscles seemingly atrophied overnight. It was a problem with the nerves, not the muscles. But that's what it felt like. And I had extreme breathing difficulty. Then the paralysis attacks started, and stroke-like symptoms. And I was suddenly hyper-allergic to everything. It was a lot for 14-year-old me to handle. Do you remember what other, if any, vaccines you had that same day? You mentioned that you were behind in vaccines and I'm wondering if it could have been triggered by having several in one sitting. Pro-vax. Just curious if this is plausible. I only received the TDA or it was the only one that was required by the school so it's the only one that I got. Did you go to vaccine court aka National Vaccine Injury Compensatory Program? Were you awarded any money? What was the process like? I wish I had a more positive answer to this, but no, I didn't. As a kid, I had no idea that the program existed. Unfortunately, my parents didn't know either. It wasn't as high profile 15 years ago as it is now. By the time that I learned about it, the period of eligibility had expired, and while I think that it's kind of ridiculous for there to even be a period of eligibility for something like this as long as there is a history of medical documentation to prove a patient's timeline, the rules are the rules and my hands are tied. I am so sorry to hear that. It's honestly okay. As much as I could use the money, I could really use the money. I'm not too upset about it. It is what it is. I don't blame anyone for what happened so I don't feel like I'm owed some kind of compensation. Do you at least receive disability benefits? Yes, I do. I would love to not have to be on disability but I'm grateful for what I can get. To be fair, it isn't entirely due to my GBS. I have other health issues as well, but the GBS definitely contributes to my inability to work. Your post triggered me, as I'm Dutch F. 33, also one of these 1/1 million strongly pro-vax. So afraid I'll get sick because other people don't vaccinate. You wrote that you're always in pain. I know what you mean. Hopefully, you'll learn how to deal with and accept the pain. My therapist once asked me if my pain was only negative, but it also made me stronger and makes me see the world in a different way. How do you feel about your pain? For that matter, very trivial. But how do you feel about traveling? I find it kinda sad that I'm not able to visit countries where you'd need to be vaccinated before visiting them. The pain can be hard to handle sometimes, but I don't have overwhelmingly negative feelings about it. I've accepted my situation for what it is and I do the best that I can. Honestly, I don't even give it much thought anymore. Focusing on the negative makes everything seem negative. I'm definitely not happy to be in pain, but I don't let it have much power over me. I ignore it as much as possible whenever I can. But I also accept that I need a lot of rest, and if the pain is telling me to stop something, I should stop it, at least for a little bit so I can recuperate. I'm sorry, that isn't a very clear answer. I think that the best way to explain it is that I've accepted the pain as a part of myself and my life. It doesn't make me happy, but I don't resent it and I don't dwell on it. I love traveling so much. But yet, I also find it sad that there are places that I can't visit. At the same time, I know that it's for the best, both for me and for the people in those areas. I would hate to unwittingly carry a harmful disease into an area where people are particularly susceptible to it. The rules are there for a reason and I won't try to break them. There's still a lot of the world that I can visit and that makes me very happy. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking mad lad. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.